weeks, the world has watched as the violence across our southern border in Mexico has escalated at an alarming rate. Rival drug cartels are murdering, kidnapping, torturing both Americans and Mexicans alike. And increasingly, the violence hasn't only been limited to Mexico. Now, on February 9th, the Associated Press ran a story with the following headline, quote, "Mexican drug violence spills over into the U.S." On February 11th, ABC News aired a segment on World News Tonight with Charlie Gibson, identifying the city of Phoenix, Arizona as the new kidnapping capital of the country, with an average of one abduction every day, putting it behind only Mexico City as the world's worst city for kidnapping. Now, we reported on the wave of kidnappings in Phoenix over a year and a half ago on Hannity and Combs, and we will have a special update of that report on tomorrow night's show. Unfortunately, the Obama administration, and specifically our new Secretary of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano, is having difficulty recognizing this problem, which is looking them straight in the face. Now, on February 20th, 11 days after the AP report that we just cited, and more than a week after the ABC News story that was followed up by many other news organizations in this country, Secretary Napolitano said the following about the Mexican violence to reporters in Washington, quote, "Right now, it has not crossed the border, but it is a contingency we have in mind because it could. We have contingency plans should violence spread into the U.S." Well, apparently the Secretary missed those previous reports, as well as another AP report the very same day that she made those comments. Now, the headline of that story read, quote, "Gunfight closes southbound traffic in Brownsville, Texas." Well, apparently authorities closed down a highway because of a gunfight just a stone's throw away at the border. Mrs. Napolitano, being so uninformed about what is happening along the border and in places further inland, is especially disappointing because we were told that she was uniquely qualified for the post at Homeland Security because of her past dealing with border problems while she was governor of Arizona. Now, we had hoped that the Secretary simply misspoke, but apparently that was not the case. Just last night, she was interviewed during a 60 Minutes piece on the Mexican violence, and she had this to say.
Janet Napolitano, the new head of Homeland Security, is preparing in case the violence spreads.
We're in constant contact with law enforcement on both sides, and we have some contingency plans should it escalate and actually spill over into the United States.
Now, there she goes again, saying the violence has not spread to this side of the border. Now, that interview aired last night, and just about the same time the American people heard her say that, the Reuters news service published another story with this headline, quote, "U.S. rattled as Mexico drug war bleeds over border." Now, in the story, Reuters mentioned that the kidnapping increases in Phoenix, an incident in Texas where a grenade linked to the Mexican cartels was tossed onto a pool table in a bar frequented by off-duty police officers, and a story in San Diego where a woman and a teenage daughter were abducted last year and taken south of the border, and they were held for ransom. And those are just a few of the examples. So how can the Secretary be so blind to what is already happening right here in this country? And joining me tonight with reaction is the author of Whatever It Takes, KFYI radio host, former Arizona Congressman J.D. Hayworth, fellow KFYI host, by the way, because we're on that great station in Phoenix. J.D., if you won't acknowledge that the violence has spread to the United States with all this incontrovertible evidence and all these news reports about it, you don't deserve this position in a post-9/11 world. How could she just deny reality?
Well, it's what we were saying when she received this appointment, and it was only partially in a kidding fashion. We said Arizona's gain is the nation's loss, because Janet Napolitano's key error is this, Sean. She still views this as a political problem to be managed instead of an invasion to be stopped and a border to be secured. She has been playing this for a long time, and I can recount for you chapter and verse of so many cases. For example, early in her tenure as governor of Arizona, on the same day, in fact, at the same hour she was welcoming then Mexican President Vicente Fox to Phoenix, there was a shootout on Interstate 10 between rival gangs of human smugglers. That has gone on, and then more recently, last summer, June 26th, if memory serves, you had a home invasion on the west side of Phoenix. The cops on the beat, the cops investigating that, tell me they were concerned that Mexican military personnel or someone with Mexican military training was part of this. The assailants had on SWAT team-like uniforms. They killed a Jamaican drug dealer, and they wreaked all sorts of havoc in that neighborhood. The violence is here. It has been here, but now Secretary Napolitano still wants to dance around it. She needs to understand that saying it's not happening doesn't make it so.
Kidnapping, ransom, violence, death, drugs, all on our borders, and she denies it's happening, and now she's going to be the Secretary of Homeland Security. Why am I frightened? Why am I thinking that is the exact mentality? They're at war with us, we're not at war with them, that led to 9/11, J.D.?
Well, remember her rather infamous comment when she came out against a border fence. She had this incredible statement, "Show me a 50-foot wall, I'll show you a 51-foot ladder." Oh, really? Like those trying to come across the border are going to haul a 51-foot ladder? That type of rhetorical device is perhaps more appropriate in an 8th grade lunchroom instead of in the governor's office of Arizona, and certainly now as Secretary of Homeland Security.
J.D., I've been down to the border. I've been to the Arizona border, the San Diego border, El Paso. I've been 5 times down to the border at the Rio Grande. I've been to all these areas. And it is as open and available for people to cross as they want, except in the areas that the Border Patrol has targeted that they want to stop it. And when they put that effort forward, I have seen with my own eyes, they can stop all illegal immigration if they just implement that across the board. Why don't we do it?
That's exactly the case. There is a failure of political will, and again the situation where this administration, like sadly the one before it, views this as a political problem to be managed instead of the national security issue you and I understand it to be. But here's the new wrinkle, especially in Arizona and other border states. You and I have said it so many times, border security is national security, but now it's personal security.
Well, J.D. Hayworth, very well said. I'm glad you're out there. You might have even paid a political price for your strong position on this, and that to me is a shame because it is a defining moment for the safety and security of the country. We'll see you out there at the Freedom Concert in August. Thanks for being with us, J.D.
Thank you, Sean.
And finally tonight, our friends at Talkers Magazine, trade publication for the talk radio industry, has released its annual Heavy 100. Now, this is the Heavy 100 list, the most important talk radio hosts in America. And coming in at number 1, he's always there, well-deserved, our friend Rush Limbaugh. Well, I'm very proud, and I want to say thank you, because you have once again made us the number 2 most listened to radio show in the country. And for that, we appreciate it. You can see Savage and our good friend Dr. Laura finishing out the top 4. And now it's time, by the way, for our Obama puzzle. Now, we are revealing 3 pieces tonight. Our 40th, 41st, 42nd pieces come off, and we're almost halfway there, but can you tell yet what is underneath? Now, if you think you know, it's very simple. Just log on to foxnews.com/Hannity. Post your answer. Go to my website, Hannity.com. We link it to there. And by the way, while you're there, you can send us your Hate Hannity video messages, and it's all from our webpage, foxnews.com/Hannity. All you have to do, it's simple, is you save a video to your computer, then you click on the, quote, send us your video link. You upload it to us, and if it gets to us and it's good enough and inspiring enough, well, you're going to be a TV star. It's really that simple. Don't forget our new feature for all great Americans on the go. Just check out the new Hannity mobile page at foxnews.mobi to get all the latest news and highlights, straight to your telephone, 24 hours a day. And this way you can stay in touch with us here at the Fox News channel. foxnews.com/Hannity, Hannity.com. And we hope you'll go on the message boards we have and everything else. But that is all the time we have left this evening. As always, thank you for being with us. We'll be back here tomorrow night. Let not your heart be troubled. Greta Van Susteren standing by to go on the record tonight. See you back tomorrow.